Okay, well, thank you all very much for joining. I'm very sorry we had to change the topic at the last minute. Unfortunately, and Carlos was ready to present, but on Friday, his boss uh, made him attend a customer meeting today. So you got to do what the boss tells you to do. So unfortunately, he was not able to attend. He was very disappointed with that. But we will be rescheduling his presentation. So today I'm going to make this an open forum. But what I'd like to do to start off is I'd like to go around the table and have each of the members go ahead and explain a little bit about what they collect most in Guatemala Philately. So, what is your specialty, or what do you focus on most in Guatemala Philately? And Peter, I see you've joined over there. Good to see you. Uh, Peter, would you like to start us off? What's your specialty in Guatemala Philately? You're not connected to
Muted.
the audio. You're muted. Mm, check your. Give me a short count. 1, 2, 3. Yep, you're still. You might want to go out and come back in. So, Matt, why don't we go around to you? Matt, would you like to tell us what your favorite part of Guatemala Philately is, or what you specialize in?
Well, I enjoy the history presentations and learning about the history, but I basically collect stamps, and I collect world stamps. I have pretty good Guatemala collection, but I haven't finished. I haven't gotten them all, um, and that's about it. I'm working on Switzerland right now.
Okay, so more stamps than covers.
Oh, well, yeah, I do have a bunch of covers, but there's just so much that I can do in a certain amount of time. I'm working my way through it. Yeah, I've got a big collection, and I've got covers. I have a pretty nice British one from early, and I'm working on thinking about doing the research on it. I started, but I have to do. No, I've got a lot of things I do.
Okay,
But I've got a
great.
lot of other covers, different China. I'm a member of the China Collection Society, the Japanese Society, and I enjoy learning about the history. For instance, all of the railroad cancellations that we did here, and so that's part of it. I just enjoy learning about the history, and I guess if I hit the lottery, one of these $1 billion ones, then I'll increase my collection to have covers from everyone also.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Matt. Elmer, what do you specialize in for Guatemala?
Yes, my favorite subject is fourth issue, the Indian woman issue, and I'm interested in the plates and the three plates and in the flows and also in the postal history of the letters. And and also I'm interested in the overprinting of um, the 5 centavo and the 20 centavo from 1881, because this is a step into the UPU for Guatemala, and this is very interesting, I think. And the second favorite subject is the lithographs of 1886.
Mm,
And I'm also interested in Caribbean sea post, especially the British packet part. And for this, you can also find Guatemala letters. And yeah, these two things are my favorite topics, I would say.
okay, thank you. And so everybody knows for the December issue of El Quetzal, which will be coming soon, Elmer has a beautiful article on Guatemala packet mail. So that'll be the showcase article of the December issue, just to whet your appetite. Thank you,
very
Elmer.
much. Thank you.
Okay, Peter, you're back with us.
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you. Excellent.
I don't know why it happens. It happens every time. The first time I log in, nobody can understand me or I sound like Mickey Mouse. I don't know why. No idea.
You're not breathing helium, I assume.
No.
Okay, that
Too dangerous.
scratch that one then. That's out.
Okay.
No, too dangerous. No.
So what's your specialty in Guatemala?
Well, I'm trying to get all the issues up to 1960 real used. So not an FDC cancellation, but a normal cancellation. I also collect letters, but to a lesser extent, mostly because they are expensive. And I do, yeah, I go around and see what I can get in the Netherlands. And that's a little bit easier because in the Netherlands, most people don't collect South America at all. So sometimes you can strike lucky. Yeah, and I'm a member of the Dutch Latin America Society. We don't have specialized societies for each individual country.
Okay, great. Okay, so moving around the table, Glenn. Glenn, what's your specialty in Guatemala Philately?
As most of you have seen on the chats, I really like the revenues of Guatemala. I'm a true stamp collector. I do less on the history on Guatemala stuff than getting varieties. Love to find new stuff. And Matt and Peter, I have a fantastic stock of Guatemala, including used. So if there's something elusive, I may have it. Let me know. But
Yeah.
I also collect scuba diving on stamps. If you can see my picture on the screen there, on the left side of the screen, which is my right, there's albums. The very far side is part of my Guatemala. Then there's a white divider. On that side is all scuba diving, if you can imagine a topic. It's huge. Most people can't think of what a dozen scuba diving stamps, but there's a lot of them. So I also have a world collection, which is kind of interesting. We have a local stamp shop in Portland run by David Markowitz, and he sold me an up to 1942 volume world collection, and I bought it. It was pretty nice. So I started adding stamps to it. That 2-volume collection is now 20 volumes.
Wow.
I only collect up to 1960, but not including 1960. And it's also huge.
Then maybe you might be interested in a fiscally used £1 Edward VI, I think. I just bought revenue stamps for Cyprus, and it included 2 £1 stamps.
Yeah, that's cool. I just picked up a Trinidad and Tobago £1. King is a King George. Really, really nice stamp. So
I have a lot of material from all over the world, from rare to normal, and sometimes rare, but people don't realize.
I hear you.
Sometimes you find stamps that are rarely used.
So thank you, Glenn. For Josh, Matthew, and Dave, who just joined us, we're doing a roundtable, and I'm asking everybody to explain what they specialize in Guatemala Philately. So, Dave, I'll go over to you. What do you specialize in with Guatemala Philately, and what do you like the best?
Well, I like best postal history because I either have or have had all of the individual stamps, all the errors. So there wasn't anything, really left to challenge. And I particularly like first flight covers and early 20th century Guatemala postal stationery. So the postal cards and the letter sheets, the notification envelopes are what I really enjoy. And the good thing about those, all of those for that matter, is that they're pretty scarce, and so I don't have a real good chance to spend a lot of money. They're just not very many of them. So that's what I've been focusing on.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Dave. Matthew, welcome.
Yes, um, I've only been collecting it 2 or 3 years, and I don't really have a specialty yet because I'm still trying to get to know the scope of everything. I'm hoping in next year to be able to purchase that 3-volume set from Amazon that that you guys just finished getting together last year, I guess. I do have an interest in foreign postal stationery, but I haven't been able to find a source of any material for Guatemala yet. So, but no real specific specialty yet.
Okay, great. But it's, when you're first starting, as you sort of dip your toes in the water, you'll find things that just kind of fascinate you and say, hey, I want to delve in a little more there. So,
Right.
but there's so much, there's such a diverse number of topics to look at, as you've probably been hearing going around the table.
Okay.
Okay, great. Josh, how are you today?
Very good, thanks. I hope you can hear me.
Oh, we hear you
hear
just
you
fine,
fine.
Josh.
That's fine. Yeah. My problem with Guatemala, I've only been collecting about 5 years myself. And I collect airmail stickers, etiquettes as a sideline. And I picked up a small collection of Guatemala with a lot of the Quetzals in it. So I've had a lot of fun with those, distinguishing the lithographs and the engraved, and the odd covers. I've got a fair source for covers here, but there's not many at you go to the local shows, you don't find anything. And my last, speaking of the airmail etiquettes, the last show in the US that I went to, because I'm up in Canada here, was in Cleveland at the Garfield Perry show. And that was just before the border closed on the COVID. And I went through, the dollar cover dealer was there. And he had sort of 2 foot by 2 foot boxes full of covers. And he says, there's one over there with some Guatemala. But I spent about 3/4 of an hour going through this box. It was all pretty well commercial stuff from the 40s and 50s. And I didn't find one airmail etiquette in the whole box.
Oh, no.
This is commercial. And I have picked up some. I intended to send some scans to you, and I didn't get a chance to it. I don't know if this will show on the screen or not.
Oh, yes.
This is an acknowledgement of receipt card.
Uh-huh.
And then I picked up one nice cover, which I with one
you got
etiquette on it.
the etiquette down on the lower left.
Yeah, and they're beautiful ones. And I got about half a dozen different now, but it's just that you don't see them often. They're not valuable things, but they are hard to find.
Yep.
Josh, I may be putting some on the market soon. I purchased a very large airmail collection, and I got everything I want out of it pretty much. And there's a lot of etiquette material over the entire airmail period. So I'll let this group.
Michael, are you going to do that on eBay?
That's what I'm thinking about, and I know someone very well who does a very good job of listing these things on eBay.
Oh, I hope he doesn't do too good a job.
Josh, there's also a great resource called catalog of airmail labels
Oh,
by a guy named Mayer, Mair, including Guatemala.
yes, right, yeah. And
Are you familiar with that book, Josh?
yes, I am. And a fellow that's in the APS study group, the label study group, Art Groton, and he had some Guatemala he sent to me. He was getting out of the airmail etiquette end of things, I understand. He did a wonderful article in the American Philatelist on them.
Mm.
Anyway, that's what keeps me busy.
Oh, excellent. Well, that's a fascinating area. Okay, and I'm glad you could join us from Canada. You know, when I was at the Hartford show, there was a Canadian dealer there, and he was one of the few dealers that actually had a decent stack of Guatemala, which I was more than happy to liberate and, you know, get, a number of covers, and they all found a new home here in Virginia.
Maybe Frank Hoyle, was it? Or
I don't remember the fellow's name. I just remember, you know, a lot of the American dealers just didn't have much Latin America at all, and very little Guatemala. But this fellow that came down from the other side of the border had a whole stack of it. So I was happy to go ahead and take it off his hands.
yes, it's always a pleasure to find.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Michael, would you like to tell us what your
Sure.
specialty is?
Okay, well, I would say I'm a specialist in a lot of areas in Guatemala. I think my favorite area, which you'll probably see in the next EQ, is
Yes, please.
I really like the archival material. I really like the way that stamps are produced, starting with what the artist's work. So I've probably got the best collection of essays and proofs of Guatemala. And more recently, I've picked up, well, I have a 4-frame exhibit of just the archival material done by Arnaldo Chiavari, for example. I've picked up more of that archival material, so that exhibit will expand. It's already gotten large golds, so it's a good exhibit. And also, just in general, I've picked up more archival material other than Chiavari, which formed a 10-frame exhibit, and which has also got a number of large golds. And I'm going to focus that a little bit more and get rid of the specimen part of it, because that really doesn't belong with essays and proofs. But otherwise, I do a lot with ambulantes, first flights, revenues, pretty much across the board. I don't do etiquettes, Josh. So that's that's open. And I'm also driven a lot by the fact that I'm doing all this work on the handbook, the 3-volume handbook that's now been published. I got an email the other day from a fellow. I'm not sure where he is. He's not an English speaker. I think he might be coming in from Russia or somewhere. I don't know. But asking me, how come I don't have this in the handbook? Why isn't that in the handbook? And I had to explain to him that this is the first set of handbooks, and that in the long run, there's going to be a set of handbooks on the postal stationery, on the ambulantes, the postmarks, and so on. He asked me, well, how long will that be? And I said, well, at least a couple of years. So I'm driven by updating the handbook in all the different areas it currently covers. So I'm gathering binders filled with material, much of which hasn't really been seen before. It's been locked into fairly well-known specialized collections. Other than that, my philatelic life is filled with what I'd call public philately, in the sense that I think most of you know, I've been a director of the APS, and it looks like I'm going to become a trustee of the APRL. So that's one big area I'm working on. It's an election. Also, I'm on the organizing committee of Boston 2026. That's a lot of work as well, because I am responsible for what is now a 7,000 square foot plus pavilion, welcome to stamp collecting pavilion there. That's going to involve a lot of people, a lot of money, a lot of learning capabilities. And I'm also redesigning the exhibit frames for 2026. So my company called Sinotech, has the contract right now to produce the first new frames in many years. That's a busy activity. Other than that, just again in Philately, I'm doing some judging this coming year. So far, I know I'll be judging at the Boxborough show in Massachusetts. Also, I'll be one of the many judges at the Great American Stamp Show in Chicago in August. And I'm also putting together the jury for the Pipettes show here in Portland. So things are generally philately busy, I would say.
So if anybody knows where Michael can pick up a few hours in a day, send them on to him.
Yeah, and Michael, I have a question for you.
Sure, Matt.
When are we going to be able to get a room in Boston? When is that going to magically happen? I've tried it several times.
Oh, you mean a hotel room?
Yeah.
Yeah, the block hasn't been announced yet, but I have a meeting at 5 p.m. local time with the entire organizing committee of Boston today. And I think that's probably on the agenda, just like, the frames are on the agenda. As soon as I know, I'll let you know, but it's going to be widely publicized.
Yeah,
They're doing
I
a
will.
tremendous job of PR.
Well, I want to try to get one in the actual venue or as close as possible. By then, I'll be pretty old, and my wife is going to go with me. So I'd like to be able to get there and get back.
Right. Yeah, I've got to. Let's see. I'm going to check. No, I don't want to take the time now. But when the discussion goes on further, I'll take a look and see if the I'm not sure if they've even opened up the hotel block for the organizing committee yet. Because usually the organizing committee and the judges get first dibs on rooms before it's opened up. Generally.
Right. There's one hotel I think that's actually connected to it, isn't there? Or two by Skywalk, something like that.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm shooting for. I've been to Boston several times, and that's a good thing for me now at that point.
Well, one reason I'm going to the show in Boxborough, Mass. This coming April is that I'm going to have some of the exhibit frames there, some of the first samples. And also, I just want to go over to the convention center in Boston and get a hands-on kind of look at it. I was given the map of the show floor. It's hundreds of thousands of square feet. I think the largest area will be occupied by the USPS at the show. And they have requested that the welcome to stamp collecting area be adjacent to them. So I just basically designed the floor space for the welcome pavilion right next to the USPS.
Well, I appreciate that. The other thing, just for curiosity, is I don't know if I'm going to want to go for the whole thing. What would be your? I'm a member of several other organizations, as you probably know, and I was wondering, what do you think would be the best if you're going to go 4 days, front end or back end? I'm looking forward to going to the meetings of the different organizations.
I would say, well, if you can wait, see when they're convening, when they're meeting, and maybe focus it around that.
Well,
I have to be there for the whole show.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm trying to, again, if anyone here can help me on this, I'm putting together a committee that's going to design the Welcome Pavilion and also design the learning activities for it. So if anyone here intends to go to Boston, wants to be on that committee, like maybe you, Matt, I would love the help. The help will involve meetings on Zoom until the show, and then at the show, spending time teaching our volunteers at the show how to run these learning areas.
Well,
Michael,
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, Mary and I are still interested in going, but I wasn't going to commit until after my procedure coming up. But,
right.
Keep me informed.
Oh, I'd love to have you involved. I think you'd be a tremendous help, Glenn. I really do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Let me just move on. Orlando. Orlando, can you
Good
hear
morning,
us?
everybody. I'm
Orlando. For the open forum today, we're asking everybody what their specialty is in Guatemala Philately. So what do you specialize in for Guatemala Philately?
Okay, so let me step out of the operating room. We're in the middle of a case, but I have a few minutes.
No, no.
No, no,
Tell
no, no. I
tell
mean,
someone to put their finger in the
let me rephrase that. We're essentially finished, but I had to ask the physician to let me step out for a minute. But anyway, going back to your question. So, I was very fortunate that maybe about a year ago, I ended up completing my Guatemala collection all the way to 1984. So I have every single stamp. Obviously, not the subpar, subsets, or errors, but my collection of errors has continued to increase, get better. As a matter of fact, I think you on the not the last issue of El Quetzal, but the previous one, it was made a comment that somebody had purchased some very unique stamps from they were purchased from Cherry Stone, and actually I was the lucky person that was able to attain those. One of the things that I was always very interested when I was a kid, and this I got from my father, that I really liked the history and the inverted quetzals, like the number 22, 23, 25. So to this day, I have I have 3 copies of 22. I have 2 copies of 23. And the 5 centavo, the red one, the inverted one, I'm very fortunate to say I have 3 of those. One of them, which is new. The one thing that I really, I would love to complete, because I'm literally obsessed with them, is the 1900s of the Ferrocarriles del Norte, which were issued in 1908. And I would love to be able to complete that sometime in the future, but it has become increasingly difficult to find them. There was some that were they went up on sale last year on eBay, and I tried superbly hard to get them, but unfortunately I got a bid. So anyway, those are my specialties right now. Is that I want to be able to complete my entire Guatemalan collection, including all of the rarities, etc. I have still a little ways to go, but with Joel's help, if anybody would like to, contribute, I mean, I'm willing to pay top dollar for those stamps. I have previously in El Quetzal asked for some help in acquiring those, and maybe I can repost them again. But that's, I don't have something specific to say, kind of like Michael described. But like I said, I am literally obsessed with the Ferrocarriles del Norte, and that's literally what I work on the most right now. I mean, I'm working on, like, my Costa Rica collection is almost complete. Also Belize, I have a tremendous collection of both British Honduras and Belize. And pretty much the entire Central America, including Panama and the zone. But going back, because we're talking about Guatemala right now, pretty much what I described, that's what my passion is right now.
Okay, great. Thank you, Orlando, for sharing.
No problem.
Mostly stamps. You also do covers, or mainly stamps?
Mainly stamps. I don't. In Guatemala, my father has probably 3 or 4 boxes of covers that I haven't even touched. I mean, I'm so busy, and but one day I plan on bringing them to the United States and go through them, because I'm sure there are going to be some gems in there. And like I said, I've never really been interested in covers, but if I have something unique and interesting that I think maybe one of you guys would be interested on, I definitely post it, and you guys will be willing to explore them, and I'll be willing to share them with you guys.
Let me know.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Orlando.
You're welcome.
Alexia, I haven't forgotten you. I just hadn't, we're still going around the table.
I'm just glad I didn't have to go after Michael. Ugh. I'm kind of different. This has been interesting listening to all you talk, because I was thinking about, why really do I like stamps? Why is this interesting to me? And I love history, and the idea that through Philately you can touch history. You're basically teeny little archaeologists, and you can study this huge history and actually touch the things that people have used. That's amazing. So I'm kind of I love postal history. I'm trying to learn Spanish, and I've been using the things that I learned here to help me with my Spanish, but help me with the history too. I'm fascinated with the way that, for example, the history of the banana is not what people think it is. And so we can tell a story. And that's the great thing. Not only do we learn history, but we can actually tell a story. The whole thing, we can learn all the details of it. And that's what I love about Philately. And also I love the ISGC. So I like all you guys. You're also smart. I'm going, wow. So that's kind of why I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Alexia. Is there anybody that I missed? I know I haven't I think I've gotten everybody. For me, I think most of you or a lot of you know, I do collect Guatemala stamps. I really like both the lithographed and the engraved quetzals. I love that series and their overprints. You know, those fascinate me. I've got a good collection. I don't know if I have every single one, but got a good collection of the stamps. But my real passion is postal history. And Alexia, I'm a kindred soul with you. I love history. I love research. And you know, for me, it's not just, you know, what's the stamp on it, what's the you know, postmark. That's part of it, and I love that part. But as most of you know, I like the story of the German colony in Guatemala, its rise and its fall, and so I pay close attention to who were the senders, who were the recipients of the covers, because it's some very plain, simple covers with a very cheap stamp on them have been sent by some really fascinating people. I'm also a big Busan guy, both in Guatemala City and out in the departments. I think the reason, and I've really been into the Busons for about 10 to 15 years. What I like about them is there's so little known about them. And even Cecile, in some of her articles in previous El Quetzals and in the PMG, it was sort of a high level type information. So I've been doing a lot of research on those, finding out where were they really located, you know, finding out, you know, when did they come into existence, how many different markings did they have. Some of them had lots of different markings. Some of them apparently didn't have a lot of traffic, so the markings didn't wear out as frequently. So I love the whole thing about Busons because it's not very well researched or documented. So between the Busons and the Germans, I have plenty to keep me occupied. And I still, you know, when I don't find some of those, you know, I'm still working the stamps, especially the Quetzal issue.
Well,
So
you know, if you
go
don't
ahead.
mind me,
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say there are so many things in philately that's like what you're talking about that you don't realize aren't researched. Little things. For example, Michael's been collecting essays, and I've looked at some of them, and one of the ones that he has, he probably showed it to you, is a drawing that Chiavari did where he started with his pen and he drew the entire picture without ever raising his pen. Well, I've never seen that before. Other people may have, but I realized that calligraphy is a field that we never think of when it comes to philately. So I was doing some research and I found out they're all different kinds. And one of the things I've noticed when I was collecting my covers is some of this magnificent handwriting some of these people have. There are different types of that. So that's opened a whole new curiosity for me about how this all works.
Oh yeah, there's so many different ways you can go in this.
Yeah.
But the other thing I love research, and you know, being 10 minutes from Washington D.C., I love going to the National Archives, to the Library of Congress, digging into what's there. A lot of it now I can do online, so I don't have to get in the car, fight traffic, and pay $10,000 to park for an hour. But the research I really enjoy, and seeing the pieces come together. You know, I take a cover and wow, this has really come to life for me now. And there's a lot more to it than just here's the stamp and here's the postmark.
Right.
So
There's in our local club here in Portland, there's a guy that does that specially, and he was telling me the story of this cover that he got, and he was able to trace the person, and through other covers, he told me the entire life of this person, where they went, what ship they took, who their daughter was, where they married, years and years of life just through studying the covers. It was just fantastic.
Yep. If it is. Okay, so I think we've gone around the table. Is there any so it's always good to see what interests different people have, and also see where there's some overlap. So for example, Carlos Rivera, who was not able, unfortunately, to be with us today, he also has a passion for Buson. So he and the Cartero markings, which I dabble in a little bit in my copious, not free time. So Carlos and I interact quite a bit on Buson markings. Susan Toomey Frost has an interest in the Germans, so she and I interact on the Germans sometimes. So it's great to find colleagues and other members who share a similar passion or a similar interest. And it's also great to be able to say, oh, I've got 3 of these. You don't have any? Yeah, let me sell you one. Let me give you one. Let me trade you one. So it's really great to interact like that.
Yeah, Richard, I'd like to just note that David Frigstad has joined us.
Sorry, I missed you coming in, David. David,
sorry, I was a little late. I had some other calls I had to do, but
that's okay. Last person to the call gets to buy everybody coffee. David, we're going around the table and sharing our what each person's individual specialty or passion is for Guatemala Philately. So what's yours?
Yeah, so mine will be an interesting story. My dad spent his entire lifetime, all his spare hours, collecting Guatemalan stamps. And, I think he was a member of the ISGC for probably 40 or 50 years. And so I inherited his stamp collection right in the middle of, my busy career. So I never really had time to work on it. So I put it into a bank vault. It's been sitting there ever since, which is not something that would have made my father very happy, right? Because I think you're supposed to share the stamps, share the experience. So I'm a little late to the game, but so I have a lot to learn. And as I get my life organized here and get some spare time, now I'm getting ready for retirement. So suddenly time just flew by. But anyway, I look forward to kind of working with all of you to kind of figure out what my dad's collection is like, and then what we should do with it. Right? I'm not planning to expend it or become a collector, but I'd like to make sure that his work helps the community and things like that.
It has in so many ways already, David. He was a very prolific writer, and El Quetzal in the earlier issues reflects that quite a bit. Our newsletter.
Yes, many articles by him.
Thank you very much. That's great to hear. And the other thing that I think is interesting, I was in Guatemala City a couple of years ago, and I have quite a few friends, and I have some friends in Guatemala. And as you guys know, they closed the post office, but the old post office building, they're turning into a museum. And you guys probably know all this, but I thought, man, what an interesting opportunity for us to see how we can help that museum and actually put some reasonable stamps in it. Because right now, I think they just have canceling machines and some things like that. And they're just getting this museum organized in Guatemala. So anyway, it's something I know nothing about, but it sounded like a great opportunity. So that's kind of my passion, is to learn from you guys what we should do with the collection, and then see if we might be able to support the museum in Guatemala City.
David, I'm the president of the ISGC, and do you have a contact that I can speak to at the museum and at least bridge that gap, start discussions going?
Right now, I have friend of a friend who told me about it, and he was the head of the central bank in Guatemala City, and or in Guatemala. He's retired now, but let me get that from him, and then I'll forward that to you. Right?
That's good
'Cause,
information. It's good information because I'm in touch irregularly with the postmistress, I guess you call her, of Guatemala. You know, they're issuing stamps on an irregular basis, but they are back to issuing stamps. And maybe if I had both contacts, we could really start the ball rolling on finding out how we can work together.
That would be fun. Let me work on that and get you that contact, because you know, I think for everything I know about Guatemala is their government is more messed up than ours. So
Right.
it's always
Also, I could
difficult to
put
navigate
them.
it.
Yeah, I could put them in touch also with the executive director of the National Postal Museum here.
Wow, that could be very exciting. Because I know they're refurbishing the building, they're raising some money for it, and that's about the extent of what I've learned so far. But yeah, I'd love to work with you on it and get those, you know, get them the support they need. And, you know, I think it would be a beautiful landing place or a place to exhibit the ISGC in a great way.
Right. Also, you came in a little bit late, Dave. I mentioned to the group here that I'm running for the position of trustee of the American Philatelic Research Library. So that also could provide some interesting linkages, I think.
Wow. Good luck with that. That sounds pretty exciting.
Okay. Well, David, welcome to the society, and you know, we're very glad to have you. And like you said, you know, I've read a number of your dad's articles that he had in El Quetzal previously. So it's great to have you know, the next generation.
I'd like to add one
Wow.
thing, if I just might, to David again. David, there's a new set of handbooks on Guatemala, of which I'm the editor. It's available through Amazon. So if you go to Amazon Books and just type in the words Guatemala stamps, you'll see that, and it may be something you want to get.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that today, because you know, it's I think what you know, I went down to Guatemala to study history of everything from the Mayan Empire to what our Spanish friends did down there, and you know, stamps were a big part of that, right? And so it just became very interesting to me. So reading the books, learning more about it is fascinating. So thanks for that. I will look up that, and I'll, you know, hopefully become a member who adds some value going forward, right? Because I'm embarrassed to say I never read anything my dad wrote in El Quetzal. As a teenage boy, you know, I just thought, the guy's nuts, right? Why is he doing all this?
Another person you may want to get in touch with is our former president, Jaime Marquardt. Jaime's grandfather was a stamp designer in Guatemala. He got into collecting Guatemala because of his grandfather. Long
Wow.
deceased.
This is a great
That's
group.
really cool.
This is a terrific group. The reason I
Yeah.
got into Guatemala was I met some of the guys that are here, and I said, wow, this is a pretty good group of people. And I've done a lot of work, including your dad's. The fact that he did such rich research really helped out a lot.
Wow, that's very touching, and gives me some inspiration to get involved and learn more about it, because it's, and as you get older, you get much more fascinated with history and politics, and you know, certainly the stamps, the artwork, all the stuff that you guys are so well versed in, it all blends right in with the history of because what I do for a living is I study, you know, I study the global economy and the future of the global economy and politics and all those kind of things. And as you look at it, you know, stamps reflect or integrate and reflect all these great changes in history. So it's now become fascinating to me.
Your father left you a treasure.
And if
Yeah,
you want to
so-
see, if you want to see your father's work on the ISGC website, we have all past issues of El Quetzal, and you can go there anytime you feel like it and read his articles.
Wow, didn't know that. Thank you.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, so just log into the website and it's in the library under El Quetzal.
you know, it's such a great thing that you guys have captured all of that historic research and documents and things like that, you know, for the world to share, right? Because, you know, my grandfather was a chemical engineer and had a bunch of patents, and his life can be summarized in one page, right? And then my great grandfather, his life is summarized on one line. And thanks to you guys, you're capturing everybody's hard work for the legacy, for the, you know, for a long time. So well done.
It's nice. It's nice to meet the successor for Roger Frickstad.
A pleasure's all mine, and thanks for welcoming you. You know, what a great group, and what a warm welcome you guys have all provided. It's very touching to me. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, David. And I see that Hugh joined us. How you doing today, Hugh?
Yeah, it's fine. The link we got last night said 8 p.m, so I didn't realize it started.
Yeah, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, and when I changed the title, I didn't realize it also changed the time on me.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hugh, we've been going around the table, and everybody's just been sharing what their specialty is in Guatemala. So, would you share with us what do you specialize in for Guatemala, and what's your passion in Guatemala?
I haven't actually got a specialisation at the moment, although I'm trying to sort of show the country and the material I've bought around the local clubs. Just quickly, that's my latest acquisition, was the essay from 1930 something, which I got last week in auction. And I did email Michael last week. My wife and I have got a joint table at Philately next May in Birmingham over here in the UK. And I was after who's got the template for the club brochure.
I meant to get right back to you. I'm not going to respond to you today. Yes, I'm going to email you the template for the brochure, and let me know what other support you can use for that as well.
Yeah. No, as I say, at the moment, I'm just putting together a display and taking it around local clubs. The TPOs I bought last year, which I've shown at a number of local clubs now over here. I've also pulled up a Yuri on it. So
it's a nice brochure. It's a trifold. It's 8.5 by 11, and it's reasonably up to date.
Right, thank you.
So, Hugh, I know that you really like the TPOs. Is that something that you've spent a lot of time on?
Not a lot, but when I can find them, or if I spot them in a dealer's box and they don't realise what the markings on them, now I know what to look for. I've also done that with the Canadian material. I can spot RPOs and stuff like that on other country material. So it's useful to get the ambulances, and then you can see where things are travelling around.
Do you do TPOs from other countries also?
I've got some European ones where they've gone sort of transatlantic mail, pre-stamp, or they've got up to 1900, and you spot usually it's the French ones and the Germans where you get the markings on them, and you spot they've gone across on a train, and then they've gone across the Atlantic.
Do you collect Belgian parcel post, train parcel post? Okay.
No, we've got a few people in Kent. I think certainly one or two who've got loads of those. So if we get them, they disappear.
No, I ask because I've got one of the most extensive collections of the early Chilean TPO markings.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a book on the Chilean TPOs, and I've got 3 stock books of postmarks. Somewhere.
You have the book by Alan Codling?
It could have been. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's a spring-bound one. Yeah.
Yeah. He and I collaborated. I mean, he wrote the book, but we shared a number of things together because I had a number of dates that he didn't have, and so I helped collaborate with him on that book.
All right. Oh, useful to know. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Hugh. Did I miss anybody else who came in late? Okay. Well, again, I want to thank everybody for participating today. And I hope you've all seen the really diverse topics in Guatemala Philately. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or well advanced. It doesn't matter if you specialize only in the stamps or if you like covers or postcards. The important thing is there's somebody out there who also has a similar passion, and it's great to interact and share not only what you found or what you have in your collection, but things you found out about it. It's really great to interact on those things. It's also good, even if it's not your specialty, to learn about other people's specialties, because that they all touch on each other. So you can have a TPO, for example, that was then sent internationally by airmail, and so the airmail collectors like it, the TPO collectors like it, but it's great to interact, and the whole idea of the society here is to bring people together with that similar passion, so that people can interact and share and develop friendships and relationships. Michael, would you like to say any last words to the membership?
No, I just want to thank the membership for being who you are and for all the great stuff we hear from you. You make it very easy to run things. I really appreciate it.
Oh, the last little quick thing. Recently, when I got bored in news, I put on YouTube and watched some of these backpackers in Guatemala. And some of those, if you don't necessarily get to the country, it does actually show you what some of the places look like, and you can know what they look like nowadays. And a lot of the older parts of Guatemala are still the same as they were 50 years ago. One or two of the streets, they're still cobbled, and they said, these were put down 50 years ago, and they're still using them. But a bit of a useful thing.
I wanted to say one thing before we go. Something I really appreciate about our group is I don't know very much about much of anything, and you guys never make me feel not stupid. I mean, some of you are brilliant and some of you know different things than you do. Like, I don't know what a TPO is. I looked it up and it says thyroid disease. I don't think that's it.
Traveling post office.
Oh, okay. I go, T, what is it spelled? Thank you so much. That's what I mean.
didn't know that either.
Well,
traveling post.
I'll be braver to ask next time.
No,
traveling post office.
No, there are a lot of. I mean, I've heard acronyms. I've been around for a while, and I'd say, "What is that?" And I quickly go over and Google it, so I don't. But yeah, some people call them TPOs. Some call them RPOs, railroad post offices. But these were postmen that were, and the U.S. had them in the, I want to say 40s and 50s.
So they weren't the place; they were the person.
It's the little post office on a train, and especially in Latin America, and this was true in South America. It was true in some of the Central American countries. But as an example, in Chile, you had 2,000 kilometers of rail line, and a lot of the small towns didn't even have a post office, because you might have a population of 200 people around the town, and maybe only 5 of them were literate, and maybe out of those 5, maybe only one of them ever sent letters outside the town. So instead of having a post office there, the post office department had to maintain and pay for a postmaster. A lot of times, if someone wanted to send a letter to the capital, you went down to the train station, and the trains would come through every hour. So there were lots and lots of trains, and there'd be a little room on in one of the cars, and you'd give the mailman your letter, and he had his little hand stamp, and stamp it, and off it would go.
If you get a cover and it says TPO on it,
well, it usually would say
by name.
It would say ambulancia or ambulante.
I've seen that. Oh, I didn't know that was okay.
Yeah, but that's not an ambulance. Okay, it's not 911 for the heart attack.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured that much out. But...
Yeah, ambulante is a wandering or a traveling postman.
Okay.
And they'd be assigned to a rail line, and then and the thing is, they would pick up mail all along the line, and they would just cancel it as they go. Guatemala had some issues with it. You had some there's stories of postmen that were just too bored to record everything, and throwing letters out the window and saying, "Oh, nobody ever gave it to me."
Wow. Well, when I edited the book, I saw a lot of these terms, but I didn't get clear on it. There's so
So,
much to learn.
RPO, TPO, ambulante, ambulancia. You know, those, it's all the same thing.
Okay. Thank you. See what I
No,
mean?
you're very welcome, Alexi.
I have a question.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah. One of the reasons I joined the organization was because I noticed that they had the free stamp album in the website.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So my question is I guess, does this album ever get updated?
Okay, I guess I should address that. All right, I since I created that.
Okay.
The answer is maybe.
Okay.
I only have so much time and energy, and right now, Matt, my priority is our handbook. So I think I've got the album up to what, 2020 maybe? I don't remember the exact date. And yes, it's my intention to update it after I update our handbook, after I create the new set of handbooks. That comes next.
If you live long enough, right?
So do you like it though? By the way, I don't get much commentary on it. I don't ask about it much. How's it going? How's the album going for you?
Well, I mean, I printed it up. I just printed it up on copier paper and stuck it in a couple binders, and I've been using it to kind of get my feet wet in collecting Guatemala stamps. And I did hear that they issued a new stamp last year or something. So I kind of figured that wasn't in the album yet. And then I bought a set, and the date and the name of the set escapes me at the moment, but I couldn't find it in the album. And this was like back in the 70s, 50s or something.
Well, you should be able to find it. Oh, that should be in the album. It's the most.
Yeah, I know it should be.
Yeah.
I just couldn't find it.
Okay.
And then I noticed that I have to use Scott to find out when the stamps were issued, so that I can kind of try and find it in the album, because the album kind of correlates with the date of issue.
Yeah, the album really follows the ISGC catalog number order.
Right.
That's how it was designed.
Right.
And therefore, if I expand the album, I've been assigning catalog numbers myself to new issues.
Okay.
Right. And trying to tie them to Scott numbers.
But I noticed that.
It's such a big job. Now, your version of the album is probably what, 300 pages or so. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
My own personal version of the album is over 1,000 pages, because I keep adding new material.
Right.
That is not just. There's no sense in me putting to the album things like essays and proofs. They're in such limited supply. You're just gonna have blank pages. So I hope that answers your question about the album. Yeah.
Okay, so if I can't locate this set, is there somebody, can I email you or something and just say, I can't find
you can send a scan. I'll come back to you with the ISGC catalog number or something like that.
Right.
That'll work. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Something we didn't mention. We've talked a lot about the books being published on Amazon, but they are still available for free download. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
On our website.
On our website. On our website, you can download the whole.
We want to remember that
pages.
there's two ways to access it, not just buy it on Amazon.
And there's an advantage to the online version. The advantage is that every stamp was scanned at high res. So you can actually blow up. You get better imaging from the online version than from the book. Again, I scanned in 3,500 images. It's a lot of scanning.
I put it on my tablet so I can take it to stamp fairs as well.
There you go.
What do you got? Show me what you got.
I've got it on my tablet, so I take it to stamp fairs.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot easier than carrying the books.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. When we go into our next show and have a table, wherever that happens to be, we'll be able to show the electronic version. We'll also have some nice hardcover books sitting there for people to look at. And, again, I don't want to run out of our time, but I see we're almost over.
Orlando finished his surgery.
Yeah. The basic idea.
He comes on, I get scared.
The basic idea of all this is to popularize this part of our hobby. It's not to make money really or anything like that. And it's been working. We have a good sized membership now. People, I walk into shows, there's Mr. Guatemala kind of thing. So, and prices are going up because of what we're doing. So your collections are worth more and more because of the society's efforts. Richard.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Michael. And again, thank you all very much for participating, and hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. Happy
too.
collecting to all of you, and hope everybody has a wonderful end of the year and spends time with the family and your collections.
Bye bye, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.